always, from the heart of the city, and now on demand 24/7 on the CHFI website. This is the soundtrack to once again accompany your passion. And I'm Don Jackson, around the world on the internet. It is Wednesday, November 4th, 2009. John Boorman, quoted in the book Simple Abundance, a daybook of comfort and joy by Sarah Von Brannock, wrote, "What is passion? It is surely the becoming of a person." Again, we're exploring passion this hour with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Enrique, Iglesias, and Bailamos. And Al Stewart living life like a song on the radio, or in this case, a song in a podcast. I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Jim Warda contributes to the Chicken Soup for the Soul Books, writes for the Chicago Tribune and the Works magazine, and authors a weekly internet column. One of his most recent books is entitled, "Where Are We Going So Fast? Finding the Sacred in Everyday Moments." This is an excerpt from something in that book called I Believe. He writes, and I quote, "I believe you have to suffer for your passion. I believe in living passionately, leaving nothing inside, bringing it hard and fast like a steam train, and touching souls." Unquote. Lovers and Other Strangers for November 4th, 2009 from iTunes and CHFI.com. Rod Stewart with These Foolish Things, and Phil Collins and Can't Stop Loving You. I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. There's a wonderful quote in a book by Melody Beattie called The Lessons of Love, rediscovering our passion for life when it all seems too hard to take. Published in 1994 by HarperCollins. And I quote, "You don't blast a heart open," she said. "You coax and nurture it open, like the sun does to a rose." Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Celine Dion with the Dan Hill song Seduces Me. Elton John with Your Song. And RyanDan, Like the Sun. I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Jean Racine wrote, "It is no longer a passion hidden in my heart. It is Venus fastened to her prey." Lord Byron and Don Juan wrote, "In her first passion, woman loves her lover. In all the others, all she loves is love." William Penn perhaps said it best when he described passion this way: "Passion is a sort of fever in the mind, which ever leaves us weaker than it found us." And Milton described the aftermath: "Calm of mind, all passion spent." Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Sheriff, When I'm With You, and Whitney Houston, Saving All My Love for You. I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers for November 4th, 2009 from iTunes and CHFI.com. Homer in the Odyssey wrote she, Helen, threw into the wine which they were drinking a drug which takes away grief and passion, and brings forgetfulness of all ills. Sounds to me like a sip from the river Lethe, that mythical river of forgetfulness that souls needed to drink from before being reincarnated, so that they would forget their past lives. Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. David Cook with The Time of My Life and Faith Hill and Cry. I'm Don Jackson with Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. A lot of differing thoughts on the subject of passion over these past few programs. Someone once wrote, "Love is the passionate and abiding desire on the part of two people to produce together conditions under which each can be and spontaneously express his real self, to produce together an intellectual soil and an emotional climate in which each can flourish, far superior to what either could achieve alone." And finally, this hour, Edgar Lee Masters, writing about William and Emily from the Spoon River Anthology and published in 1914, wrote, "There is something about death, like love itself. If, with someone with whom you have known passion and the glow of love, you also, after years of life together, feel the sinking of the fire, and thus fade away together gradually, faintly, delicately, as it were, in each other's arms, passing from the familiar room. That is a power of unison between souls, like love itself." Lovers and Other Strangers from iTunes and CHFI.com. Good night, sweet dreams. I'm Don Jackson.